Hey everyone, welcome to Down to Earth, the podcast where we talk about the honest issues of our planet. I know in past podcasts I haven't had much format, but today I wanted to bring something with a little bit more structure and just answer some quick questions about the planet and see if that works. So if you like the way this podcast is formatted today, please leave a comment and let me know. So let's just jump right into this. The first question I got was someone who says, I want to use less plastic but have no bulk stores nearby. I'm considering using online stores that let you return and reuse personal care packaging. Do CO2 emissions from mailing and refilling shampoo bottles negate their environmental good? So the point is there are two competing factors here. There is the emissions from transporting there and from, to and from, and there is the environmental impact of a plastic bottle if you weren't to use those transportations. So I guess I'll just say, it's been said a million times, but 10%, less than 10% of plastic actually gets recycled. I think actually even less than 9%, at least here in the US. And the vast majority just ends up in landfills, and that gives a really good reason to go with this refilling thing. That gives a good reason to go with refilling rather than buying more bottles. Plus, there's going to be shipping either way with the plastic bottles. So, if you do the math, the shipping would emit around 2.5 pounds of CO2. Yes, you can actually measure the amount of CO2 that would be emitted. A lot of the concern about e-commerce isn't really so much the amount of carbon it emits in the shipping. It's that generally with this shipping comes subscription programs and impulse buying and things that just cause a lot of unnecessary products to be consumed. You're shipping and producing products that might not ever be used at all. However, if you figure out ways to avoid the subscriptions and minimize the impulse buying, I definitely think going with the return and refill situation is the best. And I think it's important to weigh out the pros and cons of this topic, of the shipping over the plastic. That I think that occurs in a lot of areas. But I would encourage you to just not get too caught up in the numbers, not get too caught up in the whole tiny things like the little pieces of plastic here and the little emissions there. I think it's really important to focus on the big picture. The next question is, can a city or a place or a company or anything actually achieve net zero in terms of 100% renewable energy? 2020 has come and gone. Yay. But I assume back in the day, I'm sure 2020 was just a biggest name or just said as often as we say 2050. We talk about 2050 all the time. Many places and organizations have this goal to achieve net zero by 2050, if not sooner, which is kind of cool. More than 170 cities and towns across the US have promised this shift to renewables, whether that's from coal, oil, natural gas to solar, wind, hydropower. One example is St. Louis. They actually only get 11% of their power from renewables, and they claim that they're going to be purely run on renewables by 2035. Good luck. Denver, which is also coal dependent, has set the same goal by 2030, is less than 9 years away. The US electricity grid is still powered by over 60% non-renewable resources, like fossil fuels. And the majority of cities only get 15% of their power from renewables. One thing that does make me feel a little bit hopeful is Biden. Yay, Biden. During his campaign, he promised to eliminate all emissions from the grid, from the electricity grid by 2035. That is a huge order, but I think if we really do invest in it, it can happen. We need to invest in clean energy. Quite honestly, total decarbonization will require clean energy other than what we already have, other than solar and wind. The question is really just, when are we going to find what we need? So this is a complicated situation we're in, but we can cross our fingers and try our best. We can't just cross our fingers, we need to actually put in the effort, but we can do a little bit to help the planet and hopefully achieve those goals. I'm sure there are companies that were like, we're gonna hit net zero by 2020, and they probably did, which is cool, great. Also, on a happier note, this past week was Greta Thunberg's birthday on January 3rd. So she turned 18, she's an adult, she has all power now, go Greta. It's really insane to me just to think she's been protesting since she was my age, 15. Now she's gotten hundreds of thousands of people, I think, doing this, doing these protests with her. So many kids are motivated by her, including myself. So while we're at it, happy hashtag Friday for Future, because I think this is going up on Friday, and happy belated birthday, Greta. One last topic for today. On Wednesday, Trump supporters went to the Capitol because they will, quote, never accept it. While they stormed, one thing that caught my eye was that police were using tear gas to evacuate the building, make people clear it. From the research I did, tear gas has mainly been studied in terms of human health, but if it affects human health, it definitely affects environmental health. And because its residue settles on surfaces and stays there for days before breaking down, tear gas can contaminate agriculture, local wildlife, and groundwater. It may be somewhat cleaner than coal or oil, but tear gas definitely still emits carbon into the atmosphere and has a high footprint. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast. It's probably a short one, but I think I like it. Nice and short and sweet. Again, let me know if you like the new format and if you have any tips. I kind of just like that I got to talk a little bit. I got to answer a few questions. If you have questions that you want me to cover, please leave them down below in the comments because this is going up on YouTube. Hope I can see you all next time on Getting Down to Earth, and if not, or anywhere else here on Our Future is Mars. So, until next time, peace.